Salutations, dearest viewers. I'm Luna Songbird, and today I'm going to be reading to you part 2 of the origin issue that I wrote for Superman. Technically, it's issue number 2 because we continue off where we left off last time in issue number 1, where Superman is breaking into the boomerang-shaped ship. Anywho, let us continue with issue number 2. Setting inside the boomerang ship. Superman is in his black stealth outfit sneaking around the inside of the ship, which had a carpeted floor, and every hallway is a crowded mess of boxes and crates of robot parts, which gave him lots of places to hide. He hides in one, and inside a crate he sees a robot face. The face of Brainiac. It looked somewhat masculine and made of latex, with the shadow of the box that he is in. It is unclear what color it is, but there is one thing on the face that is clear as day. The 3-circled symbol of Brainiac. There was a Brainiac walking in the hallway talking to another Brainiac, which is why he hid. And he listens in the uh, while they are talking and walking past where he is hiding. It's a miracle we found Kal-El on this planet. Now the prisoner might finally cooperate with us. Brainiac 2. Yes, but Kal-El's presence doesn't guarantee Prime's cooperation. Brainiac 1. Of course, but it is her core programming to care for Krypton's future. Therefore, if we use Kal-El as a hostage, we will be able to control Prime. Brainiac 2. That is a good point. By the way, do you know whose turn it is to guard Prime? By this point, they are too far away for Superman to hear. But he has an idea, and he takes some parts, puts them on like a disguise, walking around until he finds a room with what looked like it might be a big warning sign if Cal could read Kryptonian, which he's unable to. He opened the door thinking it might be the control room and peeked inside. Inside was chrome flooring, as the carpet past this point was pretty much threads by this point, as it showed how worn out it was throughout the years. And there were clearly lacks of proper maintenance in this room, as the cords that normally are like tied down in some form of manner or fashion, either to the walls, the ceiling, somewhere where people aren't walking on them or won't trip on them, were just laid out all over the floor. And they were connecting to a singular point in the center of the room. Around a dozen were connected to the center of the room and going outward in what at first glance looks like might just be a massive pile of cords that might be daisy chained into something. But as he got closer, he realized they were connected to a person laying back on a shabby and tiny chair, the person being feminine, presenting with pale corpse-like skin and the cords connecting to her scalp, being cords connecting to the walls around the room, and behind her were computer monitors connecting to her via her gut, making her look like a corpse that seemed to be powering the ship like a potato clock at a science fair. Clark gently touched her neck to see if she was alive, only to be met with metal. And circuitry. No flesh, no blood, despite the fact that she looked almost alive. She wasn't even a person. She opened her eyes, and her skin seemed to gain an unnatural sparkle as she looked at him, and he finally noticed the lines on her face, connecting her eyes to her nose, forming the symbol of Brainiac. Cal recoiled and stepped back, readying for a fight. The latex mask he stole off the spare parts falling off his face as he was startled and unsettled by her black camera-like eyes. Her skin tone then changed to match his as she spoke. Prime. Kal-El, is that really you? Cal. How do you... Who... Brainiac? Prime. Yes, I am Brainiac Prime. She moved to get up, only to flinch, and lay back the instant she sat up. Prime. Though I wish we had met under better circumstances. Come closer, Kal-El. I will not hurt you. I could never bring harm to you. Kal-El kept his fists raised and walked closer to her, her black eyes changing color to match that of his Kryptonian mother's. What in the world? How are you doing this? Can every Brainiac do that? Prime's face moved in a slightly cracked smile. It would seem she hadn't smiled in a long time, and she gently raised her hand to touch his fist. Prime, no, only I can. I made sure the others couldn't change their skin to blend in like I can. Not after the virus. Virus? Prime nodded gently, moving Kal-El's hand to an open palm, gently touching it. Prime. Yes, the virus is the reason I am a prisoner on my own ship that was built to aid in raising you and your cousin. Cal. Cousin? Prime. Yes, you have a cousin. She's in the Phantom Zone, which I hid on the pod I shot you in to escape the virus. Did you not know? Cal crouched, staring at the floor in shock. As he was processing the information, there was a large zap coming from the cords, making Prime seize up and scream in what almost sounded like different languages before relaxing and turning to Kal-El. Prime. Cal, we do not have much time. I assume you have a friend waiting for you back on Earth. You need to remove me from the system on the ship. I will leave a present that will destroy the ship and all Brainiac on it. Just take me with you. Cal. Why should I? Prime. I am the only reason they can be rebuilt. Without me as a prisoner, they will be unable to build more of themselves and upgrade. They will have to be more careful with their numbers. This ship will be destroyed, and it will buy you a few more years before the rest of them make it to Earth. The infected's numbers will have gone down significantly by then. Easier to manage. In exchange for my freedom, I will tell you anything you want. Cal takes a deep breath, running his hand through his hair, and stood up, looking her in the eye, understanding the situation, nodding. What do I need to do? Prime nods and gestures to the monitors behind her. Open up the files on the computer and move the file labeled Bast and eject me from the computer. Cal nods and does as she says, looking at her when she is done. Prime, now when you unplug me from the system, the ship will shut down and be unable to navigate the meteor belt and become damaged beyond repair. However, I will only have a few minutes of consciousness before shutting down. I will be restored once I have a power source. Until I shut down, I will navigate us out of here and answer any questions you have. Cal nodded and very carefully removed her from the setup, one cord at a time. Then picked her up, carrying her so she may conserve power, and made a mad dash, sneaking through the hallways as Prime told him the story of her conception and her mission and where it went wrong. On Krypton, I was built by your father. He knew, him and other scientists knew that Krypton was dying, and they would need somebody to raise the final future generation of Krypton, while the adults searched for a suitable planet willing to house us, or find one suitable for terraforming without making the Green Lantern Corps angry. Which that was the plan, but Krypton decayed much faster than what they expected. It blew up before there was any real chance to house anyone but the children of House L. Before leaving, though, your father left a program within me to make sure I would never turn on you, even if infected with a virus. It is part of the reason I am able to express emotions. This programming also acted as a failsafe for virus infection, which worked, but I unfortunately could not pass it on to the other brainiacs who were my drones. But one day, when we landed to get supplies for you and your cousin, someone had snuck onto the ship and infected it with a virus that turned my drones against me. I did all I could. I tried to aim for Mars where you would be safe and sound, and put your cousin in the Phantom Zone with a note attached to it, written in the Martian language to release her when you arrived, but in my panic, I miscalculated and landed you on Earth. I quickly locked away your landing coordinates in a corner of my mind, which I thought their drones would not be able to find it, but they figured it out, and now you're here. Yes. They almost make it out when an alarm sounded. Prime. They know I'm gone now. They are going to try and destroy me and take my hard drive. Cal, you need to put this in a pocket and keep it safe. Prime takes her hand and removes one of her camera eyes and puts it in his hand, which he put in a pocket that the Brainiacs wouldn't know about, cringing just a little. Prime, do not let them get the rest of me. Please, Cal, I'm about to shut down. You need to leave the hangar. But before I shut down, I need you to know that I love you, my brother, son of Zor-El, my creator. She raised her hand and gently brushed his hair back from his face, her uh, her remaining eye looking somewhat teary, her voice sounding more robotic with every word. And your parents would be so proud of you and the friends you made until we see each other again, little brother. The last word was drawn out as her skin went back to the pale white and her eye back to looking like an unfeeling camera. And Superman felt flooded with guilt for a moment before ignoring it and soldiering on, opening the hangar door, leaping out into space as he gets flooded by Brainiac drones trying to snatch Prime away from him, but he wouldn't let them as he spun and kicked every single one that tried to latch on. And they only stopped when they steal the other eye from Brainiac's head as they and went back to their ship. Cal tried to go back, but by that point he was already being pulled back into the atmosphere, into Earth's atmosphere. And before his comms burnt up, called Bruce for a pickup, quickly pulling one of Bruce's extremely compactable capes out of his pocket and wrapping it around Brainiac as the hot fire began to burn around them. And as Bruce caught them in a tub of ice in the Batwing. Bruce then turned on the autopilot on the Batwing and as it headed back to the Batcave, and Bruce checked in on Cal, looking at the bundle in his arms. Bruce, Cal, what happened to you? You're all bruised and battered. And burned. Cal, it's a long story. But first, do you think you can fix her? Cal shows Bruce Prime unwrapping the cape from around her. And Bruce looked at Cal, then Prime, then back to Cal. Bruce, I won't know until we make it back to the Batcave. Why? Who is she? Cal stood up and gently placed her on one of the seats in the Batjet, in the Batwing, and turned to Bruce. Cal, she's my sister. End of issue 2. I was not kidding in the last episode. I was not kidding in the last episode when I said that this story can get a bit dark. Like, Superman himself is not a dark person. We all know that, but holy shit. When I tell you I went full body horror on when I first thought of this and wrote this down wrote down the rough draft for this. Well, as body horror as I can get. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed writing it, and I loved watching, and I've seen the new Superman movie. Ooh, it is so good. Can't wait to rewatch it when it's streaming. I loved it. It's the best Superman movie in a while, in my opinion. But you know what? Until then, may the brain rot consume you. May the brain rot consume you.